Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
Hi, great, thank you.
I'm glad to have you here at the house, and there's some things I'd like to ask you about your journey. You know, of course, you came to Oklahoma City in October this last year, and a lot of pain, and now you don't have pain. So what I want to know is, for those out there who have seen you on YouTube, how did you get there? How did you get fibromyalgia pain? That's the big question most people want to know. Why fibromyalgia? Is it like, a lot of people don't understand it. Of course, we're faster to understanding. We do know why, but you didn't know until October.
Yeah.
And so, when did you find out that you had it? What was going on in your life to let you know that you had fibromyalgia?
In 2000, I started getting chronic pain from head to toe, chronic muscle stiffness and insomnia pretty severely. And I couldn't function, severe depression. So I just went to tons of doctors and had a lot of testing done. And each time they'd give me results and they'd say, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have this. And so eventually they just it was like a process of elimination. And they just eventually said they weren't willing to give, it took them a while to give me that diagnosis. I think I probably took about a year actually to get the diagnosis, and then they said you have fibromyalgia, and I didn't even know what it was.
So, why did they say you had it? I mean, what's their explanation of why you have fibromyalgia?
They said that I could have had some type of, like a major life stressor or something like that, but they basically said that they did a process of elimination. They tested me for all these other illnesses and diseases, and I didn't show up positive, so they said, you have fibromyalgia.
So what are they going to do with your fibromyalgia? Was there a cure, or did they have any way to help you to get rid of it?
They no cure, and they just had tons of medication to give me.
Really? So apparently, here you are, it's 2000. It just showed up. What was going on in your life during that time period?
Yeah, I was in college. I just was married in July. And right after we came back from our honeymoon, we found out that my mother-in-law had terminal cancer. And I was in a car accident in 2 years before that. And after the car accident, had depression and started having stomach problems. 2000, it was,
So what did you do? You just start taking pills or
Yep.
doing the medication? Did
Tons
it
of
help?
medication.
What happened?
Well, I had tons of side effects, and I just, they tried me on countless different medications, and at one point the doctor said, you are young, and you're going to have your liver and your kidneys. He said something about my kidneys. They're not going to be able to handle all this medication for a long time, so they sent me to a pain clinic. So I was still on medications, but they sent me to a pain clinic when I was 25 years old.
So what happened there in a pain clinic?
They educate you on pain, how to live with it for the rest of your life. They basically, I was at the VA, so there were veterans there that were exposed in Vietnam to Agent Orange. That, there were elderly people there. I was probably the youngest person there, but they basically educate you and teach you how to live with chronic pain for the rest of your life and try not to be homicidal and suicidal.
So here it is, your fresh relationship, new marriage, and you're in pain.
Yep.
Obviously, it must have been hard on your husband as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was very difficult because his mom had terminal cancer, and then now I'm having all these, tons of health problems,
All right, so then what? What happened next?
Well, I was in school for, I was in college. I was in the military for 4 years. Then I got out and I was doing full-time school for 3 years. And then I had to go down to part-time school, and that was actually a pay cut for me and my husband because I was getting the GI Bill. And I had to use this program through the university to get help through disability, for a disability. Because I was starting to have test anxiety and around the pain was going to come, and I couldn't think, I couldn't take tests anymore.
So your life, here it is, 2000, you're in school, your life in a snapshot. You know, you wake up in the morning, how's your day? What's going on in your world?
Well, I couldn't sleep at night, and then I would eventually fall asleep. You know, at one point it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I couldn't sleep at night, and then so I'd fall asleep, and then wake up in pain, like fall asleep in pain, wake up in pain, want to die, try to get to the bathroom. Sometimes it would take me an hour to get out of the bed, use the bathroom, and then eat, and just try to live and redo the same process every night.
And then, so that's around 2000. And did you seek therapies? What did you do? You just went to the VA? Did you try anything else?
No, I went to the VA, and what did I do? I went to the VA, and I think I may have been getting, I'm trying to think of that year. I've done years of counseling.
Counseling. So you've been in years of counseling. So again, I'm still trying to figure out why fibromyalgia. So you're moving forward, 2000, all these events happening. How did you get to finding any solution? What did you try?
I mean, I used the VA for years. I tried countless different medications, from anti-inflammatories to narcotic medication to antidepressants to antipsychotics to anti-seizures to anti-everything. So I tried tons of medication. I had tons of side effects, and then I mean, I think that I had fibromyalgia because of a lot of emotional trauma.
You really did. What made you think that? I mean, did the doctors tell you that? Who told you that, or do you just kind of figure that out?
Well, I was in a counseling session one day, and I told my counselor, I said, I really think that I probably have this because of my childhood and because of the trauma. And she said, it's probably true.
Right. All right. So let's go back. Now you're born. You're born into a family. How was your life as a child growing up? What kind of childhood?
A ton of abuse, a lot of physical violence, a lot of fear.
So when you say abuse, like you got spanked and you're stuck in the corner, or what do you mean by abuse?
Well, in the beginning, it was my mom and my real dad were married, and he was very violent with my mom. He tried to kill her. He tried to kill us as a family. I mean, he tried, me, my brother, my sister, and my mom. He cut the brake line to the car. He tried to kill her with a gun, and then she started his hair on fire at one point, and then he took a large knife after her. So it was a really violent, rocky relationship. And then he was also, what we think, he was a part of a satanic cult. And so there was a lot of scary, just weird things going on. My sister, she had glass in her feet and busted eardrum, and me and my brother both have like identical scarring and scarring on our bodies in other places and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty traumatic.
And so traumatic childhood and some kind of abuse going on. Then what?
And then my mom and dad got divorced, and then he was gone, and then all of a sudden I started having, his voice in my head. And I would throw myself down on the floor. It looked like I was having seizures. My mom took me to, she said, probably about 5 psychiatrists just trying to figure out how to help me. And she felt like I was completely out of control. And I had my dad's voice in my head, and I couldn't figure out how it had gotten there, if I was brainwashed or, whatever. So I felt completely insane.
Now, how old were you around this age?
Probably like 7.
7, 8 years old. Okay. And then what in your life?
Well, then my mom remarried, and then he had a problem with alcohol and abuse. He was very violent. And so yeah, we just had to...
So here it is, you had a violent father, and you have now a stepfather. Now, when you say violent, what does that mean?
Well, basically, eventually, he was really trying to kill me, you know, and yeah, and,
Physically try to kill you?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Like very close to choking me to death type of stuff.
Okay. So then what? So here you are, you obviously going to school. And how was life at school?
You mean elementary school and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
elementary,
Yeah,
high
I mean,
school.
school itself was overall very good. It was very good. It was kind of my escape. It was, I felt safe there. I felt protected, so.
So that was like, I'm away from the family.
Yeah.
And then you went to school, then what?
I excelled in school overall. I mean, there were some things that I wasn't great at, but overall I did well, and I did well overall, socially, and went all the way up through, high school and stuff like that, and graduated. And 2 weeks later, I went to boot camp in the Navy.
How was boot camp?
Well, I went to boot camp because my stepdad was going to kill me. And so that's why I made such a radical decision to leave my home. And so boot camp was not terribly hard for me because I was already living in a very authoritative environment. So I was successful there as well.
And then here you're in the military. So military was not a cakewalk. There was still emotional stuff going on there as well. So how was it in the military? Because tell your story about that as well.
Yeah. So initially, boot camp, it was okay. It was a little bit hard with hearing like stories of, people trying to commit suicide, or whatever, and stuff like that. That was challenging. But then going to my ship, I went on a ship that basically had like kind of like a miniature like sex scandal. And I didn't know that at the time, but all I knew is that in different departments on my ship, there were people that were missing, that were supposed to be there, but they got kicked off of my ship and were demoted. And so I just felt like I just joined a very highly dysfunctional family, and there were obviously women being sexually harassed, and men, and raped, or whatever. There was a lot of alcoholism. There was even a lot of drug abuse and stuff like that. So it was very, very challenging.
You had a rough childhood, one father, stepfather, and then now you got another family that still has the same basic trauma.
Yeah.
And then what?
Well, and then I dated a guy who I thought I was in love with, and went home to Minnesota and felt really re-traumatized by just being around. Just certain situations had really traumatized me, and I came back and thought, I'm just going to get really drunk and just run from everything, and it's going to solve my problems, and put myself in the wrong situation. And it had it was like date rape, and I couldn't say no, and I felt like I put myself in that position, and then a few weeks after that, he ended up wanting to kill me, and was violent with me.
Yeah. So you're moving closer to 2000. Then what?
Yeah. Well, drug and alcohol addiction. That's what happened, and I just was trying to escape. So I just started using heavier drugs, and I was in the military, so I didn't want to get caught, using drugs. So I thought, well, let me just learn about the drugs that I can use that will be out of my system quickly, or use drugs that you'd only could do a spinal tap to figure out if they were in your system. So they typically weren't going to do that. So so I started using drugs. And
the reason why you think it was to numb your pain, to escape your emotional stuff?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So then, obviously at one point you either you kept doing drugs, or you quit.
Well, I stopped my street drugs in 1990, probably about 1996-ish or something like that. I think 96. And then, and that was really cool. I did like this fast with a friend, and we had met at this underground drug party, and anyway, she said, I really don't want to be hanging around with these people, and I want to change. We ended up finding out that we were both in the military, on the same military base. And we were like, all right, we got to get it together. We're going to get busted. Yeah. And so we did this fast thing for about a week, and it was really great. So I stopped my street drugs shortly after my 20th birthday. And then I was like, all right, I got to get things together. So I started heading in the right direction, and stopped drinking and stuff like that, and went through chemical recovery. And, but I still wasn't dealing with a lot of the emotional. I went through chemical recovery. They taught me a lot of skills of how to use my emotions, but I literally thought, well, I'm done because I graduated chemical recovery, so I can just live like normal now. But I wasn't using like the tools that they had taught me about.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of, my life was just getting messier and messier.
So around that time, I guess you met your current husband.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you get married.
Mm-hmm.
And then the stuff happened during the marriage, your mother-in-law with cancer,
Yeah.
and then your fibromyalgia, and then apparently you had some kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you had a couple of kids. Tell us about that and
Yeah.
how your life was.
Well, in order for me I wanted to get off the fibromyalgia medication. I wanted to get off of all my medication to be pregnant and to have babies. So it was really tricky. It was very difficult. And, but I was able to be off of the fibromyalgia medication, for a while I was pregnant and nursing. But I still had quite a bit of a challenge with the insomnia. And the pain, the pain and the insomnia was, I just never knew what I was going to get.
So how much fibromyalgia pain?
Oh, it was completely severe. I mean, I had a severe case of fibromyalgia, like no muscle reflexes, like none. I mean, the beauty of it is I still have no, no reflexes, okay, none. But I don't have fibromyalgia. So
you had fibromyalgia. How much medication were you taking during that time?
Which one?
When you, in 2000, 2001, how much medication were you taking?
Oh, they gave me so much. They tried me on countless meds. I mean, it was just so many. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was, the VA is sending me my whole medical record, and I'm just going to go in and log down all the meds that they've given me. I can't even count all of the medications, but it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. So you had 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
How was it at home? You talked about earlier how it was to be at home. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was challenging because I went from, being a successful, student, 3 years full-time student at the university, and then, oh my goodness, fibromyalgia, and then just severe depression and insomnia and severe pain and chronic muscle stiffness and all this stuff. So I just started not leaving the house. So sometimes I would stay in the house for like a month at a time, and I just became very afraid to go out. I just felt like the world was a very scary place. It was a dangerous place. I felt like I'm going to get assaulted again. Something's going to happen to me. So I just started having like PTSD pretty bad.
So post-traumatic stress disorder, and apparently it's a lifelong experience. Many traumas.
Yep.
So now you're stuck at home.
Yep.
Then what?
It was tough because I had my daughter, and I couldn't go outside. I couldn't even just go take her for a walk. It was really difficult.
And what about handling your daughter? Could you pick them up? Did you? How did your life look like then?
Yeah.
It's very emotional. I can see it.
Yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. She's so sweet. But yeah, I would sleep from 12 o'clock at night till 12 o'clock. To noon for years. And then I'd be up for maybe a couple hours, and I'd have to go to sleep again. And so she just did that with me for years. And I just eventually thought, gosh, I can't keep doing this. Like my daughter's, I was so sick, and I was just trying to do the best that I could to love her. But it's amazing. This one counselor that I saw, she said, basically when you start having kids, when you start having kids, whatever age that they're at, let's say if you had a major life trauma like at 3, when they're 3, you may kind of re-go through that. Yeah. And that is kind of what happened to me. And I started panicking and thinking, oh my goodness, this stuff is going to happen to her, and just kind of reliving it. It was really challenging. So yeah, it was the worst of the worst. It was like completely desperate. I remember I had a friend come over one day, and I was complete lights were off during the day. Like all the lights were off. It was like completely dark. There's light outside, and I was just laying on the couch looking like death. And she just came in and just said, "Oh, I just wanted to stop by." And I'm like, "Oh, And she just was so concerned for me, and I just was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not using my drugs anymore. I'm not using my alcohol anymore. I should be happy. I have this phenomenal husband. I have this beautiful daughter who's amazing. I have so many amazing things in my life, and I'm in pain, and I have countless illnesses, and I'm just making myself worse. And
Then what? How did you start? Where did you get? Here you are. You're in Oklahoma City. You volunteered, and I helped you change your pain. But how did you get there? What were the steps to get you closer? You obviously had to get off the couch.
Yeah, well, I did have a tumor that spread to my lungs, and I had to have chemotherapy. So that was kind of like, oh my goodness, I could die. And I thought, I've got to start living. I'm so stuck in this post-traumatic stress that I've got to start living. And so I had the chemotherapy, I got my clean bill of health, and I was like, I got to start living. So I got excited about living, and then got even sicker. I started having 24 food allergies and sensitivities, and the one was to yeast, and that meant that I couldn't have basically baked goods. I couldn't have sugar, vinegar, any fermented foods. It was just like I couldn't have like tons of stuff. And so it was very, very intense, and I had to start dealing with my fear of knives, because with my real dad trying to kill my mom with a large knife, a kitchen knife, my life I had avoided, knives a lot.
So what does that mean? Avoided knives, like?
Okay, so when I was an adult and I could actually take care of myself, like when I was in the Navy, they cooked for me, pretty much for the majority of the time, or else I just went to a restaurant or ate a burrito or something like that. But once I actually was supposed to take care of my own self, I didn't want to use like large knives. I could use like a little paring knife, a little tiny knife to but actually using large knives, I couldn't do it because it meant like death to me. So I was really traumatized by that. So I just ate animal crackers, I ate pizza, I ate freezer food, I just ate foods where I would avoid using knives because I just was traumatized.
So how bad was it really? I mean,
It was severe. I didn't want to have a knife in the house because I didn't want someone to threaten to kill me or someone else, or I wouldn't use vegetables or fruits or for years. I mean, I literally totally had the strangest diet on the planet, But then once I got sick after the chemotherapy, and then I couldn't eat all this stuff, I was like, okay, I went to an alternative doctor, and she said, you have to start eating veggies and fruits and quinoa and all this stuff and smoothies, and even to make the smoothie, you had to cut and to get the stuff in the smoothie. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to cut things. So I started doing that. That was like a huge major thing, but I had a very dull knife at that time too. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get something. So I ended up being brave enough to go get a, set of dull knives from a thrift store. Thought it was a really great idea. But I really did. I got I got those, and I started using those. And then actually the Christmas before I came to your seminar, I had 2 sets of friends get me knives because they noticed how dull mine were. And I don't know why my one neighbor got them for me, but anyways, but they were terribly dull and like dangerous. Like literally I would cut myself, but I would rather risk cutting myself than someone actually. To me, it just made this weird sense. Like I just didn't want anyone to hurt anyone with them.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be dull. So I started using those and doing something called a microcurrent. I did microcurrent and was doing that, and it was somewhat helpful, but not so much. I was really traumatized, and she said that I had severe adrenal fatigue, and so I was just, shaking and just anxiety, like I couldn't think, and I couldn't tell you what my purse was, or it was really humbling. It was really, really humbling. I was falling into walls. I was dizzy. It was a mess. I was really sick.
All right. So again, I guess you started seeking alternative therapies.
Yeah.
And some of the reasons why they said that you were sick was because of what?
Food.
food. So you're allergic to crackers, and you became allergic. You had like 24 different allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then I was allergic to everything from animals to dust, mildew, mold, pollen, perfumes, chemicals, bleach, everything. I was having chemical sensitivities to like everything.
So then that's why I'd say, well, these are the reasons why you have fibromyalgia.
Why? I mean, it was a large. I mean, I thought that I was, and plus my mom had all of this stuff.
Same basic. She had the same basic experiences as well.
Yeah, she did. So she had all the chemical sensitivities, and she had the chronic pain, and you know, so.
You know, as I've talked to you before, you know, talk about fibromyalgia, and I work with a lot of people with fibromyalgia, chemical sensitivities, all kinds of issues. And you know, of course, at the time before you came to see Faster FT, you could explain away, it was this. My mom has a chemical problem, I have a chemical problem, therefore it's a chemical problem.
Right.
But in reality, it's an emotional experiences that are unresolved, that's showing itself in a physical way.
Yeah.
And yet, you've been in years in therapy.
Yeah.
And it was still there.
It just actually was getting worse.
Yeah.
And then before I came to see you, like the psychiatrist and the therapist were working together, the two doctors. And I'm just being honest, I didn't want to work with her. But the psychiatrist was like, you have to work with her in conjunction with me because I'm giving you your meds. And I'm like, I thought, this is the craziest thing. I'm going to get therapy, but I'm needing more meds because I'm getting more messed up. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like the therapy and then I was getting more re-traumatized.
Right.
Believe it or not.
With traditional style therapy.
Traditional style therapy.
Yeah.
It was literally like off and on for almost 20 years. Because my stepdad went to jail in 1994 for physical abuse, and I received my first therapist then. I was awarded one.
So here it is, all this trauma, all this stuff. Now you say, well, it's a chemical problem, it's your food allergies, that's why you have fibromyalgia. And then, how did you find Faster FT? How did that come into your life?
Yeah, so a friend of mine, two friends of mine, Heather McKean had come to one of your transformational weekends and was healed of her fibromyalgia and all these different illnesses. And you know, my friend Beverly had, you know, I was talking to Beverly one day, and Beverly's a nutritionist, and she said, Tiffany, you know, you and Heather's story, you're very similar. There are a lot of similarities, like childhood abuse, childhood trauma, fibromyalgia, all of these kind of similar illnesses, military, kind of PTSD stuff. She was like, I think you should really look into Faster EFT. And so I did. I watched Heather's video. I you know, talked to her. I was like, oh my goodness, this is probably what I need. Because if she can get well, which she had a lot of illnesses, and I had, you know, her and I were kind of neck and neck. We had a lot of illnesses, and then also the same kind of background, you know. And so I thought, oh, I really need to go. I started watching, I looked on www.fastereft.com, and they said that I could sign up for 7 days worth of free emails. I did that, and that was phenomenal for me. So basically, they sent me emails every day. So I was watching the videos, and it was phenomenal because I noticed that my pain would move. I noticed that, and then eventually I would continue to work with the video, and my pain would move, and my pain eventually went completely away. So I was like shocked, and I was like, this is going to work for me. I know it's going to work for me. I haven't spent a dime, and this is working for me at home. I know this is going to work for me. And then, so I continued tapping and using the video, and my peripheral neuropathy went away. So I had been seeing chiropractors at that point for a couple of years. And in particular, I had a car accident a few years before I came to see you, and I had a problem with my neck up here. And so it was like going on nerves, and I was having peripheral neuropathy in my arms, legs, hands, and feet. Just numbness and tingling, basically. And so just using the technique, I could, my peripheral neuropathy was getting better and better and better. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I can't make this come back. So I tried to make it come back. I know it sounds silly, but I thought, well, I'm going to do crazy things, and I'm going to sleep on my right side, and I'm going to sleep on my left side, and I'm going to dance, and I'm going to move my neck, and I'm going to see what happens. And it's completely gone.
That's interesting. And that's how long this has been gone, this pain here. How long ago did it, when you tried it?
Probably about 6 months ago, the peripheral neuropathy.
All right, so it hadn't came back.
No.
Well, that's good. So then you tried it, and then what?
Well, then I was like, I need to go. And I was very scared because I knew that I knew that fibromyalgia, I knew that all my illnesses, the cancer, everything was not about the illnesses. It was about memories that I needed to address that I've avoided. I've escaped, I felt like, wow, I really am, I understand more now, but I was like an escapeaholic.
That's one of Fast T terms, Most people don't know what it means.
Right.
It means you have an emotional issue, you have a fear or a phobia, and your best coping skills try to find any way but to deal with it.
Right.
Or to change it, so we just try anything.
Right.
Drugs, sex, alcohol, shopping, yoga, reading, internet, whatever.
Right.
And not deal with it. But now you know how to deal with it.
Yeah. I have a great tool.
Yeah. So here it is. So you say you're going to be here.
Yeah. I was so scared. I was really scared to come. And I kept putting it off, and my plane ticket was getting more expensive. And I was like, just go. And I finally just, talked to my husband and talked to my friend Beverly. Beverly's like, Tiffany, just go. I really think you should go. And I finally just said, okay, I'm going to go. And bought a plane ticket and got there. And Heather and I roomed together and got to share with each other our stories. And
so here it is, Saturday morning, the day of the seminar.
Yeah.
You see Robert, you're there in the group. What was going on inside your head?
I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to deal with this stuff. I'm scared, but I'm ready to face this and learn this technique. And I believed that it was going to happen. I thought that I was going to get well. Heather told her kids before she left, Mommy's going to go and get her back and neck fixed, or back fixed, because she was shocked, I guess, to get her neck fixed as well. But I left and said basically the same thing to my kids. And so I was going with the mentality that I am going to get well.
And so you pulled up in the chair. How was it actually? Here it is, you're in the audience.
Yeah.
And then you're pulled up.
Yeah.
What was going on inside your head?
Well, I wanted you to, I didn't know very much about faster EFT, but I did want you to address every traumatic event.
All in one setting.
Yes.
Okay, good.
All in one setting. I wanted you to address everything and then clean everything up, and then I could leave and live happily ever after without having chronic illness. And that was kind of my expectations.
Well, you did get rid of pain.
I did.
But did all your problems disappear?
No.
No. You started tapping.
Yeah.
And you also said you start seeking other Faster T practitioners to help you work.
Yes.
And if you were to guess, how many hours you think you've been working on yourself since, it's been 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months ago. How many hours you been putting in to heal yourself?
Oh, man. I think that I have had, I think that I've had probably about 15 sessions, and I think each session is probably about 2 hours. One was 4 hours. But so I've had probably about 15 sessions with practitioners, and then also working with myself. So it's actually quite a bit of time. And almost every single time I've been completely afraid. I'm just being honest. And I'm like, there was one time where I was like supposed to work with a practitioner. I thought, she's going into the hard memories. I was like, oh, I don't know what happened, but I was fine this morning when I called you earlier, but I don't feel good. I need to go to sleep.
Yeah,
I thought,
the escapism.
Yeah, I was escaping, and I'm not feeling well. And then I'm like, you're just escaping again. Like, you just gotta go and deal with this stuff. And I think I worked with her the next day or something like that, and I was fine.
Because that's the reason why you had the pain. You've been trying to escape from it.
Yeah.
And it just escalated.
Yeah, my body. I think it's interesting, but my body. my body, my soul, everything wanted me to deal with this stuff from the past, but I just kept avoiding it for such a long time that I feel like my body was kind of whispering like, hey, okay, your stomach's starting to not work. You should probably fix me. Go deal with those things.
But then again, with you, your only option was to talk about it before Faster FT.
That's true, and it didn't make it better.
Yeah. So Faster FT, the nice thing about it actually does work.
Yeah. And it's very quick.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, is with all the therapy and stuff like that, you're going to spend an hour talking about whatever, something that feels completely impossible to change. You're going to talk about it, maybe be re-traumatized, and then you can't see them again for another whatever, it depends on how long, week, if you really need to see them. You can't get help throughout the week. That's what I love about Fast EFT. You can use it on yourself. It addresses the worst of the worst, the addictions, the whatever. And that's what I love about it. And then it was very painful to me to go to therapy in a lot of ways. Very painful, just bringing up all this garbage, and then there wasn't like a solution. And so Fast EFT, it identifies the challenging, stuff, but it's very quick, and then you're healing. It's just very fast. I love it.
So here it is. You had fibromyalgia pain. You're in the chair. Your fibromyalgia pain. How much you got today? It's been 6 months ago.
I mean, minimal. I mean, I don't have fibromyalgia anymore. I just don't. It's just the bottom line, and I love it, and I'm very happy about it because I had it so severely. I had a doctor tell me, you have a severe case of fibromyalgia. And she believed that she could make me well, but she wanted to make it very clear that I had a severe case of fibromyalgia. I don't have fibromyalgia anymore. I don't.
So here it is, your fibromyalgia's gone. What about your relationship with your husband?
It's phenomenal. I mean, I love him so much. He's been so loyal to me. It's been almost 14 years that we've been married. We've known each other over 17 years, and he's been great. And so just things have changed quite a bit ever since, like, coming back from, Oklahoma. We've had tons of dates, and I'm looking forward to, surprising him with something, hopefully in the near future. But we've had a lot of dates. We're spending specific quality time together. At night he'll sit in his rocking chair and we'll just sit together and we'll just talk, and we're having family dinners together, and intimacy is phenomenal. I mean, just for most people that have fibromyalgia, I mean, even when I went to the pain clinic, they tried to educate me with, physical intimacy, because most people that have chronic pain can't have a good marriage. And even people that were at the pain clinic, their marriages were ruined because of physical pain. And so, yeah, but it's phenomenal. It's helped my husband and I a lot.
So it's like he's got a whole new woman.
Yes.
I mean, you're a different person. I remember looking at you the first time. You're radiant. I mean, you look and act totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing, just in 6 months.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm in my right mind.
Yeah.
Where they just thought I was completely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've worked through so much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really inspiring. I love it. And I love the changes that I'm able to make with my kids too. I even, just so many dreams are coming true. My kids, I'm so happy. And they're getting a mom now, where before it was kind of like my husband was having to take on. I even had a friend at one point who said, Tiffany, it's like Rob does everything. You expect so much from him, and it's true. Like, I couldn't take care of him. I couldn't take care of me, and so now it's just phenomenal, like being able to actually hold my kids, and even have my husband, like when we snuggle or whatever, he's able to put his hand on my chest now, where before it'd be like, oh, no, the pain, put your hand, okay, you can't hold me, you just, I mean, literally, it was really hard, because I was in pain. It was in pain a lot. And so now he can hold me, and, but just my relationship with my children, like, I just feel so much vision for us. And my son, he's had severe asthma, and really, is that really what it was? Or is it that he learned what I was living? But he's doing significantly better too. As I'm healing, he's getting better and better as well.
Very good.
He's requiring less medication. He has had less flare-ups. I haven't used my inhaler. Actually, I haven't used my inhaler since I came back.
That's been 6 months.
6 months.
How often did you normally would use it before the?
It just depended on how bad I was, but I literally, felt close to getting pneumonia at different points, so I'd have to use it to get the mucus up out of my lungs. I would literally get tubes of mucus in my lungs.
So what about your allergies now? How are your allergies?
They're getting better. They're getting better. I mean, it's phenomenal. Like I haven't used, I'm rarely using allergy medicine now. I was popping, before I came to Oklahoma City, I was popping Benadryls almost every day at one point. I was having reactions to like everything. I mean, from different nuts to like soy to yeast to guar gum to, good night. It was just overwhelming. I was having a reaction to sugar. So I was constantly popping Benadryls, and I had EpiPens. I had EpiPens available and accessible, and I didn't even take my EpiPen on the trip. Mm-hmm.
So how's it being on a trip? I mean, now you're away from home.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I think you said earlier, it's like this is the first time that you've been away. Tell us again what it was.
Yeah, it's been, my daughter's 10, and I've been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, and this is the longest I've ever been away from my two kids. Mm-hmm.
And it's been, what, 10 days?
Almost 10 days. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good. It's phenomenal. I mean, I was scared to come here. I got myself sick before I came. I got so worried, like, how are my kids going to do? How's my husband? How is everything? And overwhelmed myself. And then I was also scared to deal with some of the emotional, traumas from the past that I knew were going to come up when I was here. And so I made myself sick before I came. And then I realized, you're just doing this to yourself. Like, let's tap. I was even intimidated to do the interview.
Me too.
I'm like, what? And you weren't. I'm like, you were not. I was like, what is going on with me? But so I was, tapping and worked through all that. But yeah, I got here and my kids are fine. My husband's doing a great job taking care of them. And
it is exciting, isn't it? I
mean,
you have a whole new life compared to what you used to have.
It is. I'm out of my house almost pretty much every day now. I'm active. I'm walking. As soon as I got back from Oklahoma City, my husband gave me this little, I don't know what you call it, but it records the amount of steps that you take, and I have it on my keychain. And so I'll walk. I've walked quite a bit since I've gotten home, and I'm just moving a lot.
So you're no longer trapped in the house.
No, I'm not.
I mean, here it is. Fibromyalgia was created by what?
Oh, just ignoring a lot of my emotional traumas.
Post-traumatic stress.
Post-traumatic stress.
All the years of stresses.
Yep.
And now you have a new outlook.
Yep.
Now, have you gone back and checked some of the memories that were addressed?
Yes.
And are they changed?
Yes.
That's amazing by itself.
It is, because even my siblings, like, if we talked about these memories, because a lot of our stuff was secrets. I mean, they were very big time, top secret. Nobody needs to know about this. And even some of our family members found out about some of it and totally like, no way, absolutely not, that didn't happen. And we're like, what in the world? But if me and my siblings, if we would talk a little bit about a certain memory, we would totally be triggered, and it would mess us up for, I'm talking weeks, months. We couldn't talk to our family members. Wow. So there are memories that I know for sure that have been cleaned up, and I feel totally at peace with. I right before I left coming here, my mom and my stepdad, I called them, let them know how much I love them. It was very good. I'm in contact with them, and
very good.
So there's a lot of healing that's happened and is happening right now with my relationships, with even with myself. Even with the cancer, like I've had to learn. I'm learning that I have to love myself, and that I was really hard on myself before, and
very good.
I got to love and accept myself.
Yeah. So I'll going back home tomorrow. Kind of exciting, huh?
It is.
And so you had this training. You're here for training level 1. How was it?
It was great. I loved it. It was awesome. I would think that after all these years of therapy and just talking to psychiatrists and doctors and everything, I mean, I think generally that I have some emotional intelligence. But this fast EFTs, to me, it's cutting edge. It's everything encapsulated in, everything that I learned in 1 week was, I mean, people go to college for 5 years to figure some of this basic stuff out. and it's just sprinkled here and there. This, what the training level 1 was, it's just the basics. It's the bare bones of everything that you need to know, and just it's just a phenomenal tool to help people heal.
And you got healing too there as well.
I did. I sure did.
Lots of changes. Very good. So exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, you know, there's somebody out there. I mean, someone else who has a similar life.
Yeah.
Fibromyalgia, trauma, post-traumatic stress. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to try Faster EFT, because what they probably think is the cause of their major life problem or whatever is probably not. And this identifies the problem quickly, knocks it out really quickly. I would tell them to feel hopeful.
And what if they're scared? They're scared. You were scared.
I was very scared. I still get scared. I still get scared to deal with some of the stuff. But I'm fighting to be courageous. I would encourage them to just fight to be courageous, because you know what? I would rather fight to be courageous and heal than to stay stuck for the rest of my life and miserable.
Because honestly, you know, here it is. You have 2 children. Had you not stepped up and worked on yourself,
Right.
who knows what the outcome will be for your children had you
Right.
not started clearing your stuff, because they would follow your same steps.
Right.
So now at least they have a better opportunity
It's true.
because of what you've done for yourself and your husband too.
Yeah.
And your family. So
Yeah.
you're changing your whole world by working on yourself.
Yeah. And it's amazing too, because some of the relationships that I thought, oh, I have such a hard time with certain people, now that I'm working on me, I think, oh, they're so different. But it's like, no, actually, you're being loving. You're being more loving, more non-judgmental, less critical, more loving, more. So it's, I don't know. I feel like my whole future is completely going to change because of this. I feel so much hope for my children.
Very good.
I do.
Very good. Do they tap on themselves?
Yes, they do.
Do they really?
Yes, they do.
Wow, that's cool.
We'll tap as a family at the dinner table.
That's good. Very smart.
Yeah, it's effective, and I talk to my kids when I go back. We're gonna start doing just regular, like morning tapping. We're gonna just start doing, tapping just so that they can do it when they're at school.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you can covertly tap.
Yeah, exactly, and they know about that.
And also make things positive.
Yeah,
Create the dream of their life and move towards that.
Yeah, my daughter and I have already done vision boards.
Very good.
And a lot of stuff on my vision board, it's coming true, and it's just so encouraging. Because for me, things like lifting up groceries and putting them in the car and bringing them home and putting them in the house was impossible before. I mean, I had to be on fibromyalgia medication in order to do it. Now I'm not on any fibromyalgia medication, I'm doing it.
Very good.
That's a simple dream, but that's, things like that are simple, but they're coming true for me. And then my daughter, she made herself a little vision board, and her dreams are coming true. She's playing the piano. I'm not even having to tell her, hey, Kathy, go practice your piano, for so many minutes a day. Her and my son are both playing the piano, and their relationships are getting better. They're Skyping with friends that they don't see all the time, and just lots of things are changing. We're trying to be forward focused, moving forward versus being stuck.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to help with the kids.
Yeah, very good. So proud of you.
Thank you.
You did good.
Thank you. Thanks for helping me. So here are it's just a little bit of my medical records. Some from a couple. I mean, one's part of one's my military, and then part for this one other doctor, and then just a few from the VA. And it's about 5 pounds worth.
Oh yeah, and you said they got a lot more that you don't have.
Yes, they're going to send me the entire thing. The VA is going to send me the entire thing, and I'm assuming it's going to be quite big, because I've been working with them since 1998, 99.
Wow. You're saving a lot of money too. Coming to Faster T, they should supplement your your seminar.
They should supplement my seminar. Oh, it's so
save
funny.
them billions of dollars.
Yeah, it's amazing because my doctor, he's just like, I just don't understand why you want to get off the medication. And, you know, for him, he's like, he just doesn't totally understand. But for me, it's like, well, let's think. I have cavities. I had cavities in almost all my teeth because of all these drugs. I mean, literally, they give you all dry mouth, you know? And I've had all these different problems, and I'm thinking, it makes total sense why I should get off the medication, and it's saving the VA money.
There you go.
Yeah.
And your liver.
And my
the rest
liver
of
and
your
my
body.
kidneys.
Very good. Good job.
Yeah.